I remember listening to Blueberry Faygo at least once every time I went to go skate outside. It would come on at least once if I was in the car. I mean, some of my friends thought the song was cringy or whatever, but I personally love the song like a lot. Now, this was 2019, 5 whole years ago. Lil Mosey's status was in a completely different place, and it seemed like at this point, he was the next superstar. With songs like Noticed, Ain't It a Flex, and Kamikaze accumulating millions, and I mean millions of views, he was really like next up, quote unquote. Not like Sofaygo, who's been next up for 4 years. I mean like actually next up. And the thing about Lil Mosey that was interesting to me personally was that he didn't have one of those come ups with like a crazy feature. These were songs he was just making by himself, and a lot of his huge singles had like no features on them. Kind of like a Lil Tecca situation, who I feel like if Lil Mosey kept going, he would have most likely had that kind of momentum right now, where he's able to drop really anything he wants and it's gonna do well. Unfortunately for Lil Mosey, an unexpected turn of events would see him taking a step back from music for seemingly years. I mean, a single here and a single there, but when have you heard of a Lil Mosey album since 2019? I think the last thing people got in a full project form was Certified Hitmaker. That came out nearly 5 years ago though. And one of the worst things you can do as an artist in the hip hop community especially is lose your hype. This is not a Lil Mosey fell off video. Like, I genuinely used to enjoy his music, but when he stopped getting pushed to the front, we've discussed on this channel numerous times that this industry just moves fast. Not even just the industry, actually, the internet just moves fast. You remember that submarine thing that happened last year? You probably haven't even thought about that in a while, but it was one of the craziest things that's happened in a long time. So when you take into consideration that that wasn't even a full year ago, who is really consistently thinking about Lil Mosey in 2024? But before we even get into that, how do we get to the point to where Mr. Blueberry himself is no longer the upcoming artist? Well, we've got to get into who this kid even was, especially since sometimes I'll see comments on my videos like, who? By the way, if you end up liking the video, just leave a like and subscribe for more. God, I hate saying that. Lil Mosey, real name Latham Moses Stanley Eccles, wow, was born January 25th, 2002, making him 22 years old right now. Hailing from Washington, he was raised by his mother and graduated from 5 Terrace High, and he was just 9 years old when he was introduced to rap. His oldest brother Quinnell played him music from goats like Joey Badass and Soulja Boy, but he liked 50 Cent, Nas, and Meek Mill. Obviously, none of that transpired in his music though. Sorry, I had to throw that in there. He started rapping at a pretty young age, and it's not known exactly when, but he began his musical career in grade 8. The oldest song on his channel is from 2016, so we can assume he started actually publishing music on the internet when he was just around 13 to 14 years old. Now, being that Lil Mosey had a whole era where he was supposed to be the next big thing, I can't exactly measure if this song immediately did well when it first came out, but I can safely assume it may have, because this song is currently sitting at 65 million views. That is actually insane. What really took him to a different place though with internet virality was the song Pull Up, which apparently had 50,000 views in the first week of it being uploaded. It went crazy and is now sitting at almost 40 million views. It's definitely a song of its time too. Like, if you listen to it, you'd be able to tell it's from 2017 with lyrics like pull up and wet the block, sipping on lean, yeah, that's walk. Yeah.
Pull up and wet the block, sipping on lean, that's why. Walk is a brand, Walk Art. It's a type of promethazine. It's like one of the best brands I like, activists.
Anyway, that video saw immediate success, and it seemed like Mosey was really getting somewhere with his craft. Like, 50K as a generally unknown artist, especially at that time, is a lot. And to be honest, it still kind of is. Mosey then moved to LA in January of 2018, and in July he dropped the video for the single Noticed, and it was actually a remake of one of his early songs, which is funny because, I mean, this is still super early in his career. Now, this did drop on Lyrical Lemonade, which at the time was basically a cheat code to blowing up. This is around the same time that Juice WRLD was going crazy. Just mad people going crazy on this channel. I mean, look, 325 million, 300 million, 83 million. Like, this kid had it all in front of him. Obviously, at this point, his career is going amazing and everything. I would say 2020 was probably his peak. That's when he dropped Blueberry Faygo, the song I was talking about earlier. Now, there's actually a bit of a story behind this song that I'm gonna tell, seeing as this is his biggest song to date. So a year before, which would be 2019, an unfinished version of the song had actually leaked. Now, if you guys are familiar with leaks, which if you haven't seen my Leaks Ruin Everything video, you should go watch that after this. Basically, you would know that leaks can absolutely damage the way a single is supposed to roll out. even if it wasn't supposed to be a single. I mean, this could have been a random song on the album, but at the same time, the leak actually helped Mosey out a lot. See, the song had been uploaded on Spotify and it reached up to 22 million streams before it was taken down. Keep in mind, this is a leak, not even an official release. So people were clearly rocking with the song. People needed the official, and a year later, in 2020, they got it. At this point on Spotify, the song is sitting at over 1 billion streams. Again, that is insane. The song actually took a year to drop because of sample clearance issues, but once it dropped, it did phenomenal. This was the same year that Mosey started his own label, Certified Hitmakers. His first and, for some reason, only signee to the label is some dude named Jay Links. No disrespect, I've just never heard of bro in my life. And I guess that's why he's the only one at that label. So Mosey is literally destroying the game at this point. He's doing features, interviews. His album did really well when it first came out, and Mosey is chilling at this point and was gonna be chilling for a while up until the situation. So January 6, 2020, a woman went to the Morton Police Department and told a detective that she went to a party with one of her friends and she got way too drunk and ended up blacking out. You probably know where this is going. She said she couldn't remember the rest of the night clearly, but what she did remember is that when she was walking to an upstairs bedroom at this party, in her underwear by the way, that her friends were telling her that she did stuff, had sex, and that there was a video of it. She had no idea what anyone was talking about though. Now her friend on the other hand had gotten interviewed as well. She stated that she had sex with Mosey in his car and it was consensual, but the next thing she remembered was multiple men forcing themselves on her, including Mosey's co-defendant saying, "Wake up, suck this." She also stated that she had woke up to Mosey doing stuff to her in the bedroom after she had blacked out. So a few months later, obviously a warrant was issued for Lil Mosey's arrest after he didn't show up for a court appearance on the matter, which at this point, the media pages and the hip hop blogs were all over that, which made the situation look way worse on Mosey because you know how the internet works. The general public reads a headline and just runs with it without doing any further research because welcome to the internet. To make a long story short, eventually Mosey and his co-defendant would go to trial because there wasn't enough evidence. It just wasn't that cut and dry. The trial will begin on February 22nd, 2023, almost 2 years later, and after 2 polygraph tests that Mosey had passed, he was found not guilty as there just wasn't really enough evidence. Now, do I think Mosey assaulted her? I don't think so, but this really isn't about me. When it comes to situations like that, it's really a he said, she said situation, and it just gets tricky. Assault cases of that nature are so gray area, I just don't even want to weigh in on it. The main point of this video is that this trial was publicized heavily. Like, at this point, if you're familiar with Mosey enough, you're probably already aware of this whole situation. I remember around this time, everyone was hating on Lil Mosey for a couple of different reasons. One being that he was literally accused of doing what he did, allegedly. We've already talked about how the internet just sees a headline, and unfortunately, if something crazy is attached to your name, it's gonna be attached for a while. I mean, you do have situations like Cardi where so much crazy stuff happens around his name, and yet people just seem to forgive him or don't care, but that's a video for another day. Also, the year before that even happened, people had this feeling that he was actually not that good of a rapper solely because of his XXL cypher he had alongside DaBaby, Megan Thee Stallion, and YK Osiris. For some reason.
Goddamn, I feel like the man. Freshman of the year, I woke up like the man. Never popping Zans, cause they
I remember people telling me, oh, you're listening to Lil Mosey, that's cringe. And I just be like, I mean, okay. So because of all of this, Lil Mosey actually took a huge break from dropping music, doing interviews, actually really doing anything. He basically disappeared from the internet after these charges came out against him. And as an artist, unless you've got an insane fan base, the absolute worst thing you can do is disappear. I mean, to think from hundreds of millions of views to radio silence, it doesn't transpire that well in your community. Quote, "It's been tough. Mentally, I had to rebuild my whole life," said Lil Mosey. "It sucks to have something like that attached to my name, knowing I didn't do it, and the whole world can see that." And honestly, I understand why he did what he did.
You what?
As far as disappearing, by the way. If you go to his Instagram right now, there's nothing there, but he did have a snippet up that I should have screenshotted, but I was going through the comments on it, and it wasn't received that well.
Live, it's been a minute, man. What's the word? New single, man, coming on the way. But I just want to show y'all, man, look. So I've been in this bitch recording myself, look. Been recording myself, so look. So I just recorded this shit right now. I'm gonna play it for y'all right now. Been trying to get over you, but I'm falling every time you seem fed up this time. You got your head up this time.
He also teased a new project on his page, but that got taken down as well. Long story short though, I genuinely do hope his career can go back to a decent place, but after years long of a break and not being with a label who's going to push you with all of their money, it's definitely going to be a hard task to complete. And honestly, there's probably no return to what he had if we're being real. Lil Mosey is never going back to that 2019 era where he was the new hot artist. I'm not saying his career is in a bad place, but to kind of use as an example, right, let's compare him to Lil Tecca. Lil Tecca has had bangers on bangers for years at this point with an even similar start to his career. But the difference is, honestly, Tecca never stopped. And I think if Lil Mosey never stopped, he probably would have had the same momentum, like I said earlier, but he doesn't. And so if we want to get specific about what day I really think Lil Mosey's career kind of ended, you could say, it would be January 6th, 2020, because that's the day that that girl decided, you're not finna get away with this one. Anyway, I'm UVXCX. Later.
Southside, downside. Fuck a gang, I don't need a bunch of gas. All I need is family.